I had to have surgery or I wouldn't have lived. But during the surgery, I had an experience that impacted my life till to this day. And it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. And I saw the light and I felt the love, the embracement. So I was in this tunnel and then I came back.
Kia ora, hello, and welcome back. This is the Let's Talk Near Death podcast. I'm your host, Kirsty Salisbury. If you're enjoying these episodes, please just give a little like or a subscribe. I don't ask that often. It really just helps the channel and all these beautiful stories to get out there. So like usual, we're back. We're talking all things life, death, experiences in between, what it's like in this world, what it's like on the other side, all of these big juicy questions that we have. And I'm joined today by Sally Jukes. Now, Sally was born with a congenital heart disorder. As a result, she was facing life-saving surgery. Now, in this surgery, it was there to save her life, but it also brought her right to the brink of death. So very, very interesting. It changed everything. And from that moment, she felt like everything was different going forward. Now, Sally is the author of Drama Girl, where she takes our personal and spiritual journey through grief, survival, and the lifelong search to understand what lies beyond the veil. I'm really looking forward to this. It's not a story of tragedy, it's a story of awakening. So, Sally Jukes, welcome along to Let's Talk Near Death.
Hello. Thank you for having me very much.
How do we end up here tonight? What is your story? How old were you when you had the surgery? Is that the beginning of the story or was it
Very
before?
beginning of the story, I was 3 years old and I was living with a heart defect. It was a hard time for my parents because they were young. They were in their 20s and they had this child born that I had to have surgery or I wouldn't have lived. So I was taken to New York and I had open heart surgery but during the surgery I had an experience that impacted my life till to this day. And the experience was that I was on a convey. I was three. So yeah, this is very impactful because I still remember it to the moment.
Wow.
But I was on a conveyor belt. I was strapped down and I was led into a dark tunnel and it was like very slowly. And as I got closer, it got darker. Around me were people that I didn't know. And I can't even say they were people, they were like beings around me, but they didn't help me. They weren't there to assist me getting out of the tunnel. They were there to assist me going into the tunnel. And when I got into the tunnel, I know that I screamed because I'll talk about that in a while. Screamed, but I couldn't do anything because I was strapped down. And then I saw a light and it quieted me and I saw, it was very distant, but it started to illuminate the chamber. And then there was this purple feeling, which but you can't really put a word to it of
Mm.
like love or embracement. And that carried me in. And it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. But that was it. Then I came back, So I was in this tunnel and then I came back and I saw the light and I felt the love, the embracement, but I didn't. Then I woke up, I guess. I came back. And the reason, the scream every night when I went, and even to this day when I go to bed, I have the dream of the orange machine and the black tunnel. And I don't scream, but that scream took my parents, put me back in the car, took me back to the hospital and said, yeah, you say she's fixed, but she's screaming at night, like having a nightmare every single night, and she's keeping us up. And he was so kind as to pull me into his office. And I remember this, and I was three, and I'm not that verbal, so I don't know how I said this, but he was saying, "Tell me your dream." And I don't know what I was saying, but he drew a picture on a yellow pad while I was talking to him, and he ripped it off and handed it back and said, "This is a picture of an elephant. Hang it over your bed, and you'll never have the dream again." And so So I left with that in my hands. That was great because I didn't have the screaming, but that experience never left me. That experience in the tunnel, the numinous, the light, the love, even though those aren't even the right words, but those are the words we know for the feeling. Do you know
Mm,
those?
mm.
There, it's otherworldly. It's beyond words, and that's just made me feel so different all my life that I was one step away, one step different than other people. Anyway, I followed it. I did a spiritual, um, I went everywhere looking for the answers. I really wanted to find out what happened. I didn't know it was near death because that was in the 50s. So
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
different
even
back
know.
then, huh?
Yeah, I don't think people, I mean, I didn't even know until I started to read about it when I was 20, and I'm like, oh my God, other people saw light, saw light and were in dark tunnels. And I had no idea that it was something that actually happened to other people.
Yeah.
And that was a real awakening for me.
That's amazing. Thank you, Sally. I was literally hanging on to every word because I love, and what you said at the beginning was you were 3 years old, and that in itself, I'm actually really curious. If you're listening, I would love to know, you can pop it in the comments or whatever it is. I would love to know what your earliest memory is. Even in my own book, which is this one here, Life by Design, that book, I start with my earliest memory in life because I've always been quite fascinated with what is the earliest that you can remember something. I've had people who've had near-death experiences. They told me about ones that they believe they had in the womb, that they had when they were very, very young, not at the point of being able to verbalize or walk or crawl or anything like that. And they believe they can remember them. And it's something that really fascinates with me. And then being 3 years old and having this strong, strong memory of going through this experience blows my mind.
Yeah, I love it that you acknowledge that because so many people say, you couldn't remember that. How does a 3-year-old remember that?
Oh,
How does a 3-year-old, how do you remember that? How do you even know? And I'm like, well, I can tell you, like for the longest time, I didn't believe I knew, but I know I knew. I mean,
yeah.
so now that's when I had to write the book just to get it out there because I never talked about it, but I needed to acknowledge it. So I wrote the
Yeah,
book.
definitely. I have heard so many people because this is one of my curious questions I have was what's your earliest memory? I love to ask this question. A lot of people have them really, really young, and they will say, "Well, I think I was still in nappies or diapers, whatever you call them where you are." Um, I've got early memories, but I can't quite give you details, but they're very vivid memories. It's really weird. So yeah, I love it. It's all part of my big barrel of questions for life and living and what are the
Oh,
answers and
so
what's the
many.
meaning of it all. Yeah, and then the fact that it's stuck with you for so long and being so, so vivid, just
Yeah.
it really means something to me. I have to ask you though, Sally, did the little picture of the elephant, did it work?
Oh, yeah, of course, it worked. But then, as I wrote in my book, that, it was over my bed for the longest time, and everybody was happy that I stopped screaming. But then one day, it just probably fell on the floor, and my mother probably swept it up. And I don't have the
Mm.
picture of the elephant anymore. I mean, it didn't mean anything to anybody, but it was very significant I mean, almost as a totem for me in my
Yeah,
life, the image of the elephant. So when I'd
yeah.
ever see something that was an elephant, it would resonate with me. So,
Brings that level of comfort, doesn't it? I think
yeah,
there are definitely things, it's associations. We can associate things to try and influence feelings, emotions, situations. I don't know. Don't know. Yeah, so then tell me, you came back. So you're 3 years old, so you're probably not going to be telling your parents what happened, will you?
no, no,
No.
no, 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 no,
Probably
no.
not even understanding what happened. And I can relate to what you said. You said it was the 50s. I had my experience in the 90s, actually, and so entirely different time period.
Oh,
But there
oh.
wasn't. the level of research. There wasn't the internet. There wasn't the way that we do things these days. It's just so, so different. So yeah, I didn't know that it was a thing. You didn't know it was a thing.
No, but what happened? You had it during brain surgery?
Yes, my one was. I flatlined on the operating table. I had a freak brain illness. I'm just thinking through, Sally. I was 12 years old. How do you think your life would have been different if you hadn't have had this experience?
I think I would have been normal. Like,
Oh,
I see
define
people that are
normal.
normal. Well, like, no, I mean, like, well, I'm always questing. I'm always traveling. I'm always looking. I'm always looking deeper than people that I know and searching for answers that people don't seem interested in. However, since I wrote the book, people have been writing me and saying, I have these questions. I've had this experience. I never knew what to do with it. I never knew who to tell or who to talk to. So it isn't that I'm unique at all. It's just that I would be different if I didn't have this experience. I have siblings that are just happy, just
Yeah.
going through
Imagine that.
life,
Just being happy. Imagine that. Yeah, I've always
Yeah.
got a lot of questions, and our listeners know that too. Lots of questions. I'm curious around so much of it. Did the surgery work? Like, did it fix the
Oh, yeah.
issues with your heart?
Yeah. Perfectly, perfectly.
Oh,
Yeah.
how fantastic.
Yeah.
How
It was
great.
great. I Yep, I have. I think today, as I did my research, you don't have to have open heart. You can have open heart if it's depending on the size of the problem. But nowadays, they can give you a medicine or go down and tidy it up. But
Mm.
back then, the only way to save a child was to cut the chest. So I have big scars. Uh,
Oh, wow.
no, it's good.
Well, yeah,
It's
it's
not.
kind of weird. I love scars. I don't know what it is about them. I'm a little bit weird like that. I love a good scar.
Has a story.
Yeah, it does. It just, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like a personal story, which we all
Yeah,
have. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. So you talked about how you have been asking some of these really big questions. Am I allowed to ask what some of them are? What are some of the answers that you found?
I've not done very well with my answers. Um I always want to know what's the numinous. What is this luminous? What was that? What's the name of it? What happened? I want to know what happened. Like because it's there. I can still feel it. And I did a well, I did a big, I'm a meditator. I was a meditator, a big meditator. So I did like several 3-month silent retreats trying to get
Wow.
back to this, alignment. And I traveled to India in search. And then I sat a 90-day retreat in a forest monastery in Burma looking for the answers, thinking that if I just could get rid of all these constructs out here, I could go in and find the answer. That was interesting because I was 90 days in. I was studying with a very renowned Sayadaw. And when I had my meeting with him, I was like, okay, I said everything you're supposed to say about what you were feeling, thinking, everything I was supposed to do. Then I wanted to know what is the numinous? What was that? And he got up from his chair and he went over to the library and he picked out a book. And I thought, oh, good, he's giving me the answer. And came back and he said, when you go home, read this book. And I was like, great. And he turned it and it was Pollyanna.
Oh,
What? So,
oh, I
I
was
mean, it was
expecting an
like,
amazing book title. Or I'm not saying that's not amazing, just that's not what I was
it
expecting.
was Pollyanna. So I'm like, Pollyanna, blonde hair, blue eyes. What the?
Mm,
And so very disappointed that everywhere I went to try to find the truth outside of myself, it
mm,
just kept coming back to me because I don't think that people that haven't had that experience understand the experience.
Mm.
Do you know? So I did more work. I did trained in Zurich for sand play therapy, which is a nonverbal therapy. So I could try to go back to, and that helped. I could see what happened by putting the figures in the tray. And I got my master's degree. And the answer is, you know, it's my truth. I had to come back and claim it for myself. I couldn't look outside myself to find out what really happened because nobody could tell me what really happened. And there's no language for it, as you know. I
Yeah.
mean, we have our words, but our words don't capture the feeling and the essence of the experience, in my experience, anyway.
There are no words for it. Yeah, that when he was getting the book, I was thinking, oh, how would they describe that in the words in the book? What could you possibly read?
Right,
Because it's beyond words.
right.
Yeah, and
There
even
are
I,
no words
yeah,
because it's not,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, even when I say it was purple and it was this, it's like, was it? I mean, it was beautiful, it was embracing, but it was more than that. Those are just the
yeah.
words I have here on this
That's it. We're
plane.
limited by our vocabulary, aren't we?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
mentioned that there were some beings around you. Do you
yeah.
know, like, how many would there have been?
I don't really know. I remember seeing them over here on the way in, and they were shady, but I didn't know them. I was three, so there was
Yeah,
nobody
yeah,
there that, that most people will say, well, I met so and so at the gate, but I don't know how many there were. Maybe, I don't know. I would say six, perhaps. I don't know.
yeah. Okay. It's another one of my questions because there are a few people who've seen the beings. What has it been like for you since this? Like growing up, having that, you said you felt like you were a little bit on the outside, that you weren't quite, you used the
Well,
word
we,
normal. Now I have no idea what normal is. I don't think I'll ever know what normal is.
it's not me.
But
Like, but I can tell you what I did learn from it, if this would, it won't answer
yeah.
this question, but um, that that you don't have to be afraid to die, because of the love and the feeling that embracement that happens as you pass over. You don't have to fear death. I would feel fear and the dying process when you start to lose functionality, but you don't have to fear death because that's going to be a really beautiful experience. My experience of that, it is.
Mm,
So I would like to let people know they don't have to fear. And then the people that are on this side, when their parents die or their loved ones die, that they're okay. It's the grief that sits over here, on this side
mm,
of the veil. But the people dying, they're good. They're going where they should go, and they're going to be embraced with love, or that
mm,
feeling, whatever that is.
mm,
Looking forward
mm,
to it. Yeah.
mm. I believe so. I think that grief and the pain of that, like you were saying, I think it's a very physical thing of this world.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, it's very real though. We can't discount how
Nope.
awful and gut-wrenchingly hard that can be. But I believe the same. I believe there's nothing to be afraid of. Um, we'll see in reality how that all
We'll
works
see
out.
what happens when I get there.
Exactly.
Right?
Like it's all well and good for us to sit here and
Yeah,
talk about
and
it, be
sit
like,
here.
oh, it's fine, don't worry.
Don't worry.
But I know what you're saying, that just that feeling of love, acceptance, that it's all good. Yeah, I'm still blown away by the fact, Sally, that you're 3 years old. I've got so many thoughts around, well, why would this happen to a 3-year-old? Have you thought about why this happened to you specifically?
Well, no, that's a good question. No, no.
Because I
Uh,
wonder whether it's about you, or perhaps it was that your family, your parents needed to go through this experience. Or did they need you to come across the path of one of the medical professionals who would interact with you? Or we just don't know. Don't know, but 3 years old seems really for me, it's quite an unusual age to have something like this happen because you're not aware of this world yet. Well, you're just getting into it.
right, exactly.
Why then? Don't know. My brain's got no answer for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't
I
know
don't know.
why. just take what you get, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. So how do you feel about everything? Do you feel like you came back with a feeling of purpose or like you had things to achieve, or was it just, well, I'm here and it's all good, I'll see what happens?
Why don't I never thought like that because I didn't know what happened. I didn't understand what happened. But I know that I see life in everything around me. And my husband's always, why are you talking? Who are you talking to? I'm like, well, the bush. I mean, who are
We
you
do this.
talking to?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you thinking? I'm like, well, I see life in everything. And I don't see it as different from myself. I don't know, that sounds weird, but
No,
that's
no, that
one
makes
thing that
sense to me. That makes sense to me. I think
yeah.
everything's alive and I talk to everything as well. I thought it's just that I was a bit nutty, but
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, there's definitely that possibility. I'm probably going to stick with that theory, to be honest. Yeah. And how do you feel about your future death, whenever that is?
I don't know because it's very interesting. So I went through this and I wrote the book, and it hadn't launched yet when this winter my husband all of a sudden had to have open heart surgery. Uh,
Oh,
and we had
wow,
to
both
have
of
it. We
you.
had to leave and go to Athens. We don't have medical care here. We just never really don't get sick, so we just weren't hooked into a system.
Mm.
And we were in Athens for over a month, and I was like, Sally, you wrote the book. You've got to, like it's everything's going to be all right. He was in surgery. It's supposed to be 2 hours. It was 8.5 hours. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting. And I thought, my God, maybe the Greeks don't know that when you die, you have to call the spouse because I was waiting in the hotel room. And then I realized that no, he would have come. I would have known if he had died because I know when people die. I, I know that. I feel them when they die. So then I knew he hadn't died, and then I just had to wait. But and the grief, like, okay, well, what happens if he? I was like, everything was running through my head. If he dies, I'm living in Greece. What, what, what am I going to do with all this grief without? Anyway, so it's funny that I wrote it and then it happened and it challenged me. Yeah.
Mm, mm. Kind of like you wrote the book for yourself, your future
I
self.
think so. I
I've
had
had
to
this
go
thought
look.
too. I'm like, I should know better. Wrote a book on
Yeah.
this. But it
Yeah, I
it
know.
just shows we can know it mentally and we can experience things which bring these messages out. But in the actual moment of it, it is hard, it is painful, and grief can just be so consuming. And it is. Yeah.
And it's real.
It's
And
very real. And I don't believe we should rush through it. I believe it's actually a gift that there's a reason it happens, despite it being as hard as it is. I think if we try and rush through grief, then I think it might actually pop up at another time. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's part of being human. And that's what we have to realize that these emotions are part of being human and they're real. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They are. Have you ever thought about why are we human? Why are we here?
Oh, that gets scary. Yeah. I do wonder a lot of things, but why?
I
What?
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do know that when people pass, they do come. And I think you're probably open to that, receptive to that. And I know I'm receptive to that. I don't know that everybody is, or if they are, I'm not sure that they know what it is that happened. But I've known when people have died by something. Uh, one time I lit a candle for my cousin and the flame blew out. And then I got the phone call that she had died. Do you know? So I think that I think I'm more porous than a lot of people, and I feel things differently just because of my experience.
Yeah, right. So you think that's because you've had the near-death experience?
I do think. I think the
Yeah.
intuition, the like, yeah, my intuitive capacities are different because of the near-death experience, I
Yeah. And
think.
there's a lot of support in that idea of
Oh,
that
there
is
is.
actually a thing. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people have researched that and they feel that when they come back from a near-death experience, we may have more, they call them gifts. Now, whether it's a gift or not is a whole nother conversation, but the ability to sense things or feel things or see things. There's all sorts of things that happen, but that's known as a thing when people come back
Oh,
of
oh,
having
that's good to know.
extra
Yeah.
sensitive, call it what you like, abilities. Yeah, quite common. You said, yeah, I'm quite open to that, but only under certain circumstances. I don't want it at nighttime when I'm home alone, if there's a thunderstorm, and I put all the criteria on. I got into a conversation at the weekend actually about ghosts. And
Oh,
again, another conversation, but I was like, if they're there, I really want to see them, but not when I'm at home alone and not this and not that. And I put so much criteria on that I'm probably never ever going to see, call it a ghost, a spirit, a being, an
spirit,
entity.
spirit.
I know there's a lot,
Yeah.
depending on who you talk to, there's a lot of different thoughts around that. But yeah, I'm very, very open, very keen,
Yeah,
but am I
when I was
really?
meditating, what when I was meditating once in I was in a monastery and I was meditating. We had to meditate for like 18 hours a day. And then I remember I looked up and there were these great big windows on the side of the monastery, and a purple shimmer came through the window and went down the side of the meditation hall. And I knew it was someone from the other side. It was something from the other side, you know?
Yeah,
And I knew it and I saw it. But who do you tell? I mean, how do you qualify that or quantify that? So,
yeah,
yeah, they're
yeah.
there.
There's a lot of things you can't, again, put into words. Sally, I'm curious about your time when you went over. You're in the monastery for 90 days. That's a long time.
That was the second time I had done that. One was in the United States and one was in Burma or Myanmar, as they call it now. It was a long time ago. Uh, I was in my 30s, I think.
And you would meditate, pray all day?
You don't pray, it's called mindfulness, where
Okay.
you sit with your breath and you see what comes in, and you name it, you let it go out. You don't attach to it. So you're watching your breath and you're watching what comes in and what goes out and how it affects you. Uh, so that you know that it's just the breath. It's not, oh, that noise is really bothering me. This is making me crazy. It's just noise, noise,
Mm.
noise. Not don't attach it to an emotion or a feeling. 18 hours a day, walking and sitting, two meals, one before, well, both were before 10 a.m. The only two meals you got were before 10 a.m. The first one was always in the dark. I think it was like 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
And then you just ate what they gave you, it was the beautiful Sangha, the beautiful Dana from the community. They'd come in and give you food. Very difficult for a Westerner
Yeah, I
then.
can imagine.
I've seen them. I looked it up online, the monastery these days, and it seems a little more modernized because it's many years later.
Yeah.
But and we at that time, I don't know what it is now, but you couldn't get into Burma without, you could go for 6 days, but we had to apply for a religious visa, and that took 2 years to get, and it was for 90 days. And that's how we got in.
Wow. So you couldn't really do a spur of the moment decision
No,
on that, could
no,
you? You had to know and
no.
you had to be all in. Were there times when you thought, what am
Oh,
I
I
doing?
was
I
not
just want to go
home.
home?
Exactly. Exactly. Many, many times.
I think
It
you're
was
very brave, very
difficult.
strong.
It was very difficult, but it was very, very helpful because it gave me a capacity that I didn't, at the time, I didn't know I was. but there was a great capacity that was being filled, and that I learned a lot about myself during that process.
Mm.
So I couldn't do it today. I couldn't do it today
Because
because I couldn't do it today. I just couldn't do it
just couldn't.
today.
That's right.
Couldn't.
I'm
Thank you.
listening to that thinking, I don't know if I could ever do that. 90 days, 18 days, 18 hours a day. Blows my mind. Very strong. Do you think that that's something everyone should experience, or do you think you kind of have to be, I'm going to use the word called. You're called into having that experience,
What experience?
going to the monastery for 90
Oh,
days.
no, 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 not everybody should do it. I was, I'm very spiritual,
Yeah.
not religious per se, but so I felt a calling to go. And I was spurred by the near-death experience because I wanted to know, I wanted to see what happened. I thought I could see it when I meditated, but that wasn't why I went. That was the wrong reason to go. It was because it really deconstructs your psyche by being in silence for 90 days. And that wasn't what I needed at the time. It
Mm,
didn't help. It got made it worse because a lot of that was also 3 years old. I was in a hospital in New York. My parents weren't, this is back in the day, the parents weren't allowed to be there.
mm,
So there was a lot of attachment disorder from not being with my family at a very important time in my life, developmentally.
yeah.
So it kind of sparked a whole lot of psychological problems for, not problems, but
Things,
challenges. Yeah.
challenges, yeah. Layers, yeah. There's a
Yeah,
lot in
later.
that. You don't really think about it. Again, being young.
I know.
I find it fascinating. I'm coming back to when you left the monastery.
Yes.
What was
In a
that like?
rickshaw.
Was
In
the
a rickshaw.
world just loud and crazy?
Yes.
And how do
Yes.
you cope? 90 days is such a long time. How do you cope with that? What did you do?
Well, I don't really know. We were in Bangkok, but when
Oh,
I
that's
left
quiet.
Yeah. When I left the monastery in Massachusetts after 90 days, I remember going into a hotel and making sure the doors didn't shut, like making sure they were just quietly shut. Every noise was painful. So I remember being very mindful of being quiet because that's how you were in the monastery.
Yeah.
But I don't remember in Burma. I know that I just wanted a hot bath. I just just really wanted a hot
You must
bath.
have been aching. Were you sore from
No,
day
but
in,
we
day
didn't
out
have water.
sitting?
We had a well, and you just went like this, in the morning, if you
Goodness.
did that. So I really wanted a bath so badly. It was like
Yeah.
the one thing I wanted. And so we stayed at this hotel that was way back from when the British ruled. But it was old, but old. You could see the good bones in it. But
Mm.
it had a big bathtub. I poured the bath, and the water was just like brown. I
Oh
don't know where
no.
but I got in anyway. It was hot and
I
it was
bet you
brown.
did. Who cares? Oh, I'm really sad about that. I'm like, after all that time, you deserve just a nice hot bath. Oh
Well,
well.
but we lived in Hawaii then, so I think we flew to Hawaii afterwards, and we were fine.
Yeah. Yeah. You've had quite an adventurous life, haven't you? You've done a few things.
I like to do things. I
Yeah.
think life is important to do. I think it's important to have experience. But
Mm.
that could be that I'm always like my sister just visited from the States. She goes, Blue, you've been here how long? Where are you going next? Where are you going
Yeah.
next? Because they know I move a lot, but I don't think there's another, this is heaven. So I think we're good for now.
Yeah, I think that would be quite amazing over in Greece. Yes. Yep. I love it. I'm all about squeezing the juice out of life. I'm all about having a very physical experience, being aware that it's a temporary experience and that we
Exactly.
aren't physical, but at the moment we're given these physical vehicles to have experiences through, and I'm all for
Yeah.
that.
And be
Yeah.
kind. I mean, I try
Yeah.
to be so kind because what else is there? I mean,
Oh, kindness
you
is
know,
the biggest currency. 100%.
why are you feeding those cats? Because they're they're hungry, they're beings, they're not,
Yeah.
I'm very bad.
Is that like
Anyway,
stray cats?
well, this island has a lot of cats,
I
so
can imagine.
maybe they were cats, stray cats once, but now
Now
they're
they live
here.
with you. Have you
Yeah.
named them, Sally?
Yeah, that's the problem.
If you
Yes,
name
they
them,
came
then they're,
slowly. They came slowly. It's been years. I think we get one
yeah.
a year. So
Oh, oh, I really need to go live in Greece. Love
yeah, you
cats.
should.
I love warm
Yeah.
weather too.
Do you
Love warm weather.
travel?
Yes, have traveled quite a lot over time. Lo a lot. Yeah. I'm ready to go somewhere. I've got itchy feet, so see what happens.
Yeah, see what I mean? Itchy feet. That's a
Yeah.
good thing to say.
Yeah. No, I really like it. I like that you've got itchy feet. I like that you move around, do things. Sally, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm still blown away by the 3-year-old thing. I just think it's amazing. I love all the teaching. I love the way that you have relentlessly pursued knowledge and trying to understand it. I
Well,
love that you're
that's
not
the
necessarily
premise.
afraid of
Yeah,
death. Say
that's
that
the
again.
premise of Drummer Girl, of the book, because it isn't about me really. It's the contemplation of and it's not about trauma, even though people have couched it
Mm,
as trauma. It's really about resilience and about a contemplation of life and death and the question that goes along the way. Do you know?
mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm.
So
I believe they're the same thing, life and death, just different sides of the same thing,
I love it. Thank you. That's
personally.
great.
Yeah. So,
Great.
Sally, thank you so much for joining us. It has been a real pleasure to hear your experience.
Thank you for having me very much.